try to erase me, minimum wage me, news article page me, calling us crazy. Your foundation is shaky, top heavy and lazy, with a sticker that says I love the 80s.
They say they too big to fail. I say the harder they fall.
Welcome to the Resistance Report. I'm your host, Dennis Traynor Jr., and my guest today is on a mission to make capitalism a dirty word and has called for a new populist political party to compete with the corporately owned Democrats and Republicans that would stand up for the rights of immigrants and indigenous people, call for a sustainable energy and development, make education for all a top priority, and treat universal access to health care as a human right. Carl Gibson is co-founder of US Uncut, which is a creative direct action movement that mobilized thousands against corporate tax dodging and budget cuts in over 100 cities during the months leading up to Occupy Wall Street. He is also currently the lead investigative reporter for Occupy.com and a contributing editor for reader-supported news. Carl, welcome back on the program.
Thanks for having me on, Dennis. Always good to be back.
So, you end a recent article of yours titled 4 Ways to Evolve Beyond Capitalism with the question, who's in? The question is around your call for a new political party that opposes capitalism and unites people around the basic ideas of meeting human needs. Now, you know that coming from Occupy, right, there's going to be some pushback against this, as a lot of people didn't see the answers to the questions raised by Occupy being answered through the current political structure. Your response to that?
Right. I totally agree with those people. I think the current political structure is completely falls short, and the people in charge are not listening to people. So I think we need to reform our political system from the inside, starting at the grassroots level. And that's something I don't really see any other existing alternative parties doing right now. You know, there are a lot of great independent thinkers out there, and a lot of people who are, running on alternative party tickets. But until we really get some concrete wins and solid changes happening in the city council level, school board level, mayoral level, I would love to see something like that happen in this country, where over time we can build a political power to take over Washington with our own people. Now, I think it's not too late to start doing that, and I think thinking in terms of the long game and 20, 30 years down the road, we're the next generation. We're going to be taking power, and we're going to be the leaders of this next 20 to 30 year period. So let's start building that power now. I think that explicitly anti-capitalist party with those values that I mentioned in that article is a great place to start.
A lot of the values that you mentioned in the article, full employment for all, healthcare as a human right, etc., challenging capitalism directly. These seem like party platforms that we would find in something like the Green Party, or we might even see with the recent success for the Alternative Socialist Party with Kshama Sawant gaining a victory at the city council level, at the local level up in Seattle. How is what you're calling for different from work that's already underway?
I love what the Green Party is doing. In Maine, they legalized marijuana. I know you had the lead organizer of that campaign on your show. I worked on the Jill Stein campaign in 2012. Love the Green Party. But unfortunately, the Green Party still has that branding that they really aren't able to shake of being a perennial candidate in presidential elections, not having much of a presence at the local level, and kind of relating more so to the aging hippie crowd than to the young radical revolutionary crowd. I think it's a good start, and I certainly would love working with these alternative parties on this vision, but I think we need to see something new. And as far as Kshama Sawant, Socialist Alternative, love the work that she's doing, and I think actually people like her, people like Gil McLaughlin in Richmond, California, I think they could all have a place in this new political movement that we're making. I want to stress that what I'm calling for is not just a political party, but a social movement that actively organizes in the grassroots level for things that people actually need met in their lives, for the needs that must be met from within the political system. Then we run our own candidates out of the leaders that emerge naturally from those community activities.
Let's talk about the kind of cross currents or the intersection between social movements and political parties a little bit. In reading some of your recent articles, I've also been reading Nathan Schneider's book, Thank You, Anarchy, Notes from the Occupy Apocalypse. And he points out in a line that gave me kind of a little bit of a chuckle, something that you'll remember, that a chant you would often hear in marches in Occupy Wall Street would go something like 2, 4, 6, 8, let's all smash the state, and then it would be followed by chants that were demanding health care as a human right for all, which those chants seem to be at odds with each other. Do we want to smash the state, or do we want the state to take care of all human need, put it above corporate greed? And so some of the things that you point to in your recent articles about things happen outside the political system, victories among the rolling jubilee and strike debt, Occupy Sandy, but then you point to one solution that would eliminate poverty that just calls for a fractional tax that all countries would pay into, citing, I think, a $90 billion number that the United States would have to pay into, which is just a fraction of our overall military budget. So talk about how you see the intersection of a cultural force and a political force working. Are we smashing the state, or are we building a bigger one?
We're smashing the elements of the state that that involve the usurpation of the citizens. You know, talking about the NSA, talking about the military-industrial complex, the prison-industrial complex that, you know, oppresses immigrants and people of color. You know, those parts of the state definitely need to be smashed. I agree with my anarchist friends there. However, you know, we have these mechanisms in place where the UN study that you cited, the $90 billion figure, if we were to just take that fraction of the military budget, that $90 billion, commit with other countries in establishing basic protections for people so we can end poverty, so we can provide education for free for everybody, so we can provide basic health care, so we can correct gender inequality. I think having initial reforms like that don't have to happen without, you know, well, that don't have to happen with a violent overthrow of the state. So I think there needs to be a combination of, you know, I love what my anarchist friends are doing. For example, in Occupy Madison, they're building tiny homes for homeless people. But what they have to do is they have to work with the city and getting land to be built for these tiny houses. City's behind it, but they just need some guarantees from each person and each party involved, and it kind of involves the spirit of working together. So I don't think it's all for naught, and I think if we start at the local, county, and state level, we can really accomplish some great things. My favorite Occupy chant, by the way, is "We are unstoppable. Another world is possible." And so I think we're already creating that alternative world, and I think we could further expand it by, you know, expanding into the political realm.
The content on this channel is not supported by any corporate interests, because not only are corporate interests not buying, Acronym TV is not selling, which means that it's viewers like you who support the show. You're a viewer, we need your support. Now, we recently produced a full 1-hour TV pilot, and in addition to paying the expenses related to that production, we are actively working to identify production and distribution partners for future episodes of this expanded format in the future. The pilot was a solid effort, and we're going to continue to improve on that pilot and learn from what we did that day in ways that are going to serve the movement of movements with additional financial support from you. The linchpins of this effort are individual contributions from you, the viewer. Please take a moment right now, without delay, to click the link in the video description and donate what you can to keep Acronym TV going, and then share this link with like-minded friends. You can check out the expanded format, a format we hope to improve upon and do more regularly, in the video description. The goal is a weekly format that can be a kind of meet the press for our movement of movements. And to remain true to our audience, we need our audience to remain true to us. Please take a moment right now, donate whatever you can. Every dollar makes a difference. Some of you can afford $5, some of you can afford $500, most of you can afford something in between, and the amount you give is up to you. But right now, we need numbers. We need many of you to chip in at a level that you're comfortable with. Thank you. The link to donate is in the video description right below this video. Peace.